Coach Janet. And so I'm coming on today, and I hope everyone had a wonderful day today. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you're still having a wonderful day. And I want to come on today because I said we're going to talk about this before you say I do. And some of the questions that you need to ask before you say I do. And so, one of the questions that I was saying the other day about before you say I do was, do you want to have children? Do you want to have children? That's one of the questions that came up. Before you say I do, you need to know by your future spouse if they would like to have children. And I say that because it's a chore. It can be chores with having children. There is that's it's very important to know. And I wanted to share this again today because it is very important of the essence to know if your spouse would like to have children, your spouse to be, because if you decide to have children, then you also need to decide who will discipline them and how will you discipline your children. It's very important to know, will you be a strict parent? Would you have no rules? That's important to know about your future spouse. And so that's why I wanted to come on. I wanted to come on to talk a little more about before you say I do, because you need to know. You need to know who is going to be responsible for the chores and how you will divide them for the children, for the baby, the children that are coming. And so I wanted to just talk about that just a little bit, you all. Just a little bit before you say I do. You need to think about these things because children cannot care for themselves. And if children cannot care for themselves, someone has to care for them. And if you agree with your spouse regarding children, then there should be a plan. There should be a plan. And I'm really an advocate for children. And I think that every family should have a healthy environment to raise children. As I said before, they cannot care for themselves. Children cannot care for themselves. And so before you say I do, you all, it needs to be a plan on what's going to go on. What's the plan? And so I came on today because that is a big thing today, because there's so many young ladies that have to deal with deadbeat dads. There's so many young ladies that has to deal with the chores being more so on them than on the spouse, the other party, I would say like that, the other spouse or the other party. And so that's why I wanted to come on. I'm an advocate for children. And I believe that you need to know if you would like to have children or if your spouse would like to have children as well. So you all can work together in this. Remember, I said marriage is a partnership. Marriage is a partnership. Marriage is a covenant. And you work together as a team. You work together as a team, and that's even in raising children. And I know that because, I don't tell a lot of my business, but I have 6 children of my own. They're all grown. And it can be tough raising children, and wives need help. Wives need help. And so, hello, Major Plug Media. How are you today? So glad to see you. And wives need help, you all. So I'm on here, and I'm so thankful that that's one of them. That there, Major Plugs that has come on. Thank you, son, for your support, because he's the baby boy. We women need help with the raising of the children, and it's so important. Before you say I do, you need to know: are you going to help me to raise these children if you would like to have children? Or are you going to allow me to stay home with the children? Because some parents, they would like to have children, but they have all of the load on one parent. All of the load is on one parent, or the majority of the load is on one parent. And nowadays we're having two-parent home workers in the home. We're having two-parent workers in the home. And that, hello, Danis Strong player boy. I'm sorry, USA. I hope you're doing well. And so that's what I'm talking about. You need to know if the person of interest that you would like to marry, if they're going to help in raising the children, if they're going to help with the chores. I know we've been talking about this, but this is so important because I love children. I'm an advocate for children. That's one of the subjects, one of the majors that I in college. For as a child therapist, and I want to let everybody know the children, they can't take care of themselves. They depend on parents to take care of themselves. Even if you're not married, children depend on parents to keep them or have them in a healthy environment. Children depend on parents because they cannot take care of themselves. And so, this is before you say I do, make sure that you and your future spouse agree on having children. And not only that, but that you agree on how the discipline is going to go. You agree with that. How are we going to discipline the children? Are we going to be strict? Are we going to allow our children to have a tablet and be on the tablet all day? Are we going to let them watch movies all weekend? Are we going to let them sleep in? It's so many different questions regarding how to raise your children, and parents need to get along. This is husband love your wives. Yes, it's good for parents to be married. Even if they're not married, you parents need to get along with one another before their children, because the environment is important. A healthy environment is very important. Thank you very much. Thank you. A healthy environment for children is very important, right? And is so important that you don't want your environment to be so that they use the phrase the children are a product of their environment. And that's not always been such a good phrase to use regarding children. And so that's what I want to come on to say. I want to come on to say that you need to know if you desire to have children. And you need to know if your spouse would like to have children. And you all need, if you all say yes to that question, if you're saying yes, then you need to do whatever it takes to make that child the best adult, help them to grow to be the best adult or the best one person that they could ever be. And that is the way you do that if you have a wholesome, healthy environment, and that you constantly help with raising the child. Help with raising the child, and not leave all of the weight on one parent. Okay, and then we talk about the deadbeat dads, and no one wants to have a deadbeat dad. So we're talking about dads. Let's get in there, moms. Let's get in there and let's work together for the children. This is what we're talking about. And with Husband Love Your Wives, one of the things we're talking about is, before you say I do, these are the things that you need to pay attention to. And one is the children. If you desire to have children, let's do what's best for the children. Long ago, people would say things like this. They would say, once you have children, once you marry and have children, that's your life. Your life is gone. This is what they used to say years ago. Your life is gone, and you have to do everything you can to keep the family together and raise the children. Okay, and so I might, that might not sound so good, because I always believe in self care for the wife. I always believe in self care for the husband. I believe in self care, but everything in its perspective, everything in its place. You have to take care of yourself as well as love and take care of the children. And so, if one person doesn't want to have a child, you all, a lot of times that can be a problem. So you need to talk about that before you get married. Okay, so I want to come back on and just put emphasis on that. Another thing I said on yesterday that I want to come on to kind of clear this up. I said this. I said something to this effect. I said, it should never be a time when you avoid a conversation because you believe that there may be chaos or confusion that comes from the conversation. I talked about a lot of times when there's an elephant in the room. A lot of times when there's an elephant in the room, so to speak, that's a cliche. That means that there's something that really needs to be talked about, but no one wants to really talk about it. And so, what I wanted to clarify was this: if you are married to a person that is immature, and I really want to call them an idiot, but if you are married to someone that's immature, okay, then there are certain times that you need to speak to them if they're at a calm state of mind. I want to say that, okay? Because there's a time and there's a season for every conversation. It's a way to say something to anybody, and so I want to share that because if you come to a person at the wrong time, sometimes that could run into something else that you don't really want to see or you don't really want to get involved in. So I want to clarify that. There's a reason that I'm saying this because everybody's not in the same calm situation as others. Okay? Everybody's not all in the same calm setting. And so I want to make that clear. There is a time and a season to say what you need to say. All right, because I want everybody to be safe out there. And some things are very touchy situations that you can't talk about all the time, anytime. So you have to choose your words well and choose the time that you need or would like to speak to your spouse or whoever that you need to speak with. I just want to clarify that because we're not all in the same situation, okay? And I want everybody to be safe out there. And that's why I want to come on and clarify that. I love you all, and I hope to talk with you all soon. And we have morning prayer in the morning at 7 a.m. I love you all, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.